A brand kit and branding guidelines are two things that every business should have. However, so many entrepreneurs don't even know what they are. So in today's video, I am going to be sharing what both of these things are and why they're important, as well as I am going to show you how you can create your very own brand kit and branding guidelines. Stay tuned. Hey Hustle Babes, I'm Chanel the Brand Hustler, and this is a channel for all of my hustle babes who are interested in gaining insight on the entrepreneurial journey while learning essential marketing and business tips for their brand. So if that sounds like you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and join the Hustle Babe community. Today's video is going to be so good because we are talking all about brand guidelines and brand kits. This is a topic that is essential. If you have a business, if you intend on building a brand, you need to have guidelines and you need to have what's referred to as a brand kit, and in some cases, a style guide. If you don't have these things, you risk the consistency of your brand being deteriorated. You also risk looking like a fraud, honestly, when you come across on the internet or in person, etc. In today's video, I am going to share with you what a brand kit is, what a brand guidelines is, the importance of those, and I'm also going to share the components of a brand guideline / kit document so that way you can know what you need to include in yours. And I'll even be sharing with you how you can obtain templates so that way you can build out your brand guidelines and your brand kit even easier. So if you are excited for that, leave a comment down below letting me know, do you have brand guidelines and a brand kit right now? And if you don't, why do you not have them? Is it because you didn't know what it was? Is it because you just didn't make the time? You didn't know how to create one? Let me know what stopped you from creating a brand guideline document or creating your very own brand kit. Comment that down below. And without further ado, let's hop straight into the video. What are brand guidelines and what is a brand kit in the first place? So a brand kit is actually a document that lists out the visuals of your brand. It's normally referred to by graphic designers as a style guide even, because they put your fonts, your color codes, and your logo on this document to make it easy for you to replicate the visuals that they've designed for you. Now, your brand guidelines, on the other hand, they are a more detailed document because they go into detail on the use cases of each of your logos, each of your symbols. They also go into detail of what you can and cannot alter when it comes to certain visuals of your brand. And some brand guidelines, especially the ones that I love, they even share like the story or the purpose behind your brand, which is super helpful. You may be wondering, why do I need a document to outline all of this? But in reality, having a brand kit and a brand guidelines are super essential for you because without them, you'll lack consistency, you'll lack cohesiveness, and sometimes you'll even lack creativity. And the reason why is a brand kit and a brand guidelines allows you to stay on brand no matter what. So you have certain things in them like color codes, which allow you to look the same as far as colors go every time you show up. The same thing goes for the fonts. The same thing goes for certain symbols and patterns and imagery that are included within your brand guidelines and your brand kit. When you have a brand kit, you are able to replicate any design that was created for you because you have that core document. Let's say you hire a social media coordinator, or maybe you decide to outsource some graphic design for your brand. And these people need to know what the color codes are, what the fonts are, what the logos are, what the use cases are, all these things. That way they can design to their full potential. Without having these documents at hand, they're pretty much going to free flow based off of whatever it is that you tell them to do. And 9 times out of 10, it's not going to come out looking the way that you want it. Or even if you do like what what it is that they created, it's not going to be completely on brand because there was no guidelines established in the first place. So then what ends up happening is you end up having a bunch of mixed match designs that don't really look the same. They don't really flow. They're not cohesive. They're not consistent. And when it comes to the creativity level, you stump the designer's creativity because instead of giving them a kind of like a foundation to build on, you're having them create their own foundation, which takes away time from them being able to unleash the full creativity level that they have. So I'm gonna put an example on the screen of a brand kit that my agency designed for a previous client. That way you can see what it looks like. It's really a quick snapshot that embodies all of your colors, your logos, and all the things. A brand guidelines document, on the other hand, we go more into detail with it. We describe the brand a little bit more. We give you guidelines on how to use your logo, the hierarchy of your fonts, and things like that within your brand guideline document. Now, these are two essential documents, like I said, and I want you to be able to create your own. Just because you don't have a graphic designer doesn't mean that you can't create these documents using what you've already gotten from a graphic designer. So let's say you already have a logo designed. Now you can go ahead and develop your color palette and other things and put it into these documents and have that be the guiding light for your brand. One of the ways that you can do that is by using Canva. If you know anything about me, you know that I absolutely love Canva. I know Canva like the back of my hand, and one of the things that I love about Canva is that they give you templates for both your brand kit and your brand guidelines. So let's hop behind my screen really quick so that way I can show you some of the options. What you want to do to find templates for your brand kit and your brand guidelines is you're just going to search right here. You're going to type in brand kit and you're going to make sure templates are selected, and then you just hit enter. And you're gonna see all of these different templates that you can use for inspiration. And you'll notice that they all kind of have the same format. Logo at the top, submarks right here, color palettes, fonts, and an actual mood board. So as you see, if you click this one, this is what this looks like, and the ones below it look very, very similar. That's how you'd find your brand kit template. And all you have to do is hit customize this template. It'll open up in Canva, and you can drag and drop your own images in here, switch out the logo, obviously change the colors and things to match your brand. And then how you want to find your brand guidelines is you do the same exact thing. And so Canva will give you a bunch of different templates. Canva has a lot of brand guideline templates that are in the form of presentations, as you can see here. So when you click into them, it actually takes form of a presentation that you can slide through. And this is really good because if you're hiring someone on your team, or even if you have to present to maybe somebody you're partnering with or something like that, it's already in the format of a presentation. Now with Canva Pro, you can change the dimensions of any design with the click of a button. So if you don't want it to be in a presentation format and you rather it be in a long page format, with Canva Pro, you can just type in the dimensions and then hit resize and you can resize it. But this is an example of a brand guidelines document. And it's really that easy. Just hit customize this template and you can go ahead and customize it. Now let's get back to the video. And so as you see, Canva is a great resource. It's actually a great resource for a ton of other things as well. I suggest you get Canva Pro because Canva Pro unlocks more stock images, stock videos, more features, elements, and things like that. If you want to test out Canva Pro, I'm going to put a link in my description box, and I'll also pin a link in my comments. I absolutely love Canva. I use Canva every single day, multiple times a day. I design all of my presentations on there, all of my Instagram graphics, my thumbnails for YouTube. Everything almost is designed on Canva. So definitely check out the Canva Pro trial that I'm going to leave in my description box and let me know how you like it. Now I want to get into the components of a brand guideline and brand kit document. Your brand kit document is really like a snapshot of your brand guideline. So I want to focus mostly on the components of a brand guideline because that is the longer document, okay? You have 7 main components of a brand guideline document. The first main component within your brand guideline document, aside from the about us or your brand story, is going to be your logos and your submarks. Your logo is pretty much a representation of your brand in one snapshot. Your submarks are variations of your logo. These can be used in different spaces that your main logo does not fit. So for example, Target's full logo includes the bullseye and the full spell out of Target, but the bullseye is a version of their logo, a submark if you will, that they can use separate from their logo. You also have a lot of other brands that do this. So Louis Vuitton, the LV is a version of their logo versus the fully spelled out Louis Vuitton that you'll see horizontally. And so it's important for you to have submarks because you want to be able to still put your brand, or put your brand stamps, I should say, on different places, no matter the dimensions of those spaces. Your color palette is super important. A lot of people just pick random colors just because, and you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you use color psychology to pick the color palette for your brand. Not only that, but you want to make sure that you specifically outline the hex code, the RGB code, and the CMYK codes for all of your colors. Different use cases use different forms of the color codes. For example, if you were to print something, CMYK would be the form in which the printer would probably request the document or the visual in. You want to make sure that you have each of these versions because they will allow you to basically transfer to any color code with its twin, pretty much. The third component of a brand guideline document is going to be your fonts and the font hierarchy. So as you can see from this example here, they have the font hierarchy and they give an example where they say use this one for headers, use this one for subheaders and paragraphs, and then they show you what it will look like and the type application of it. So pretty much a font hierarchy marries different fonts together and creates a relationship that makes sense. Every font isn't supposed to be a paragraph font, and every font isn't dominant enough to be a title font. So it's important that you know which fonts can fall where, and you develop a relationship among several fonts to create your font hierarchy. I suggest limiting it to about 3 fonts if you can. You can have an emphasis font, a title font, and a heading font. The fourth component of your brand guidelines is going to be elements and symbols. These are patterns. These are different icons and things like that that are known to be for your brand. If we go back to the Louis Vuitton example, Louis Vuitton has a monogram print. They also have a kind of checkerboard pattern that belongs to their brand as well. That is technically an element of their brand. It isn't a logo and it isn't a submark. Instead, it's an element of their brand because it falls into the patterns, elements, and symbols category. So if you have anything like that for your brand, or if you think that that would be helpful to have for your brand, then go ahead and create it. Maybe you have a very natural, organic type of brand. You may want to create a pattern with leaves on it that is just for your brand that you're going to use. These are crucial if you have a product business, because that means your social media manager, your VA, your graphic designer, whoever can pull from set mockups that you already created and put it onto their design. Not only that, but they can see the application of it and then mimic it on their own design as well. You can actually create product mockups on Canva. I have a TikTok where I show you how to create product mockups, so I'll make sure to put it on the screen, but I'll also link it down below so that way you can check out how you can make product mockups on Canva. I'm telling y'all, Canva is the GOAT, so make sure that you check out the Canva Pro trial that I have in my description and linked in the comment. Your mood board is pretty much the thing that sets the tone, sets the vibe for your brand. People should be able to look at your mood board and immediately grasp what it is that you're trying to portray. So for example, the style guide / brand kit example I showed earlier from a past client from my agency, She was going for a very earthy yet angelic type of vibe because her products are all natural and it was a faith-based company. So in her mood board, we use a lot of golden tones, we use a lot of browns, and we use like imagery that makes you kind of like visualize and takes you into like a certain mood. It gives off a certain aura when you see that mood board. You want to create one for your brand as well to automatically give off that mood, that aura, so that whoever it is that is working on your brand documentation, heck, even if it's you down the line and you're creating something for your brand, you can look at your mood board and immediately get inspired. The last and final component of your brand guidelines is going to be your photography style. Pretty much your photography style is how do you expect pictures to be shot for your brand. This is important to have if you're not going to work with the same photographer over and over. And even if you are, people tend to forget, you tend to lose track. So it's important to kind of derive from your mood board what your photography style is. Not only that, but you can use your photography style and show it to influencers that you end up having contracts with, or brand ambassadors that you end up working with, and show them what the style of photography is that matches your brand. That way you can utilize these photos. Another thing you can use the photography style for is for UGC creators. That way they can get inspired on what type of photos and imagery you actually would like for them to create. There you have it. Those are the 7 components of a brand guidelines document. And like I said, your brand kit is a snapshot of that, with your brand kit having your logo, your color codes, your font, and in some cases your mood board. Now that you know the 7 components to your brand guidelines document, you can create your own by going to Canva and using one of their templates. I told you what each of these components are and why each of them are important. However, if you want additional help on how to determine which colors are best suited for your brand, or how to actually develop a font hierarchy amongst your fonts, or how to know which symbols and elements to use, and how to get inspired to create these things, then I suggest you join the eHustle Club, because in our next masterclass, we are actually walking through how to create a brand kit. It's going to be a workshop style class where we are going to go step by step and create a brand kit, and the members are going to come with their laptops and everything and be working on their own brand kit while I am going through it workshop styles. If you're interested in actually seeing the how and getting into the step-by-step nitty-gritty of making a brand guidelines document, then you definitely want to sign up for the eHustle Club. I'll leave that link in my description box as well. We learned a lot in this video, so please comment down below letting me know what your main takeaway was from this video. Was it helpful to you? Will you create a brand kit now? Have I changed your perspective on brand kits and brand guidelines? Let me know down below, because I want to know that I have impacted you in some way. If you're not subscribed to this channel already, make sure that you hit the subscription button, share this video with someone that you know it can help, and make sure that you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at The Brand Hustler, because I drop gems over there as well. And y'all, this was a great video, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.